Hey, everybody. We are here back.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Heroes Unleashed. Hello, everybody. We have Id, Crimson Sage, Morgan, Seraph, and Orion. Unfortunately, Patch will not be joining us today. So, there's that.
Maybe because he's going to grandma's.
Yeah, he's going to grandma's to do some tech support.
To get away from the insanity in LA.
Yeah.
Have you checked to make sure it's plugged in? That is a very much common problem.
Did you Control Alt Delete?
Did you turn it on and off?
Dude, I can't tell you how many times my IT director has told us that shit. It is.
How many times was it the solution, though?
It is almost never. Almost never. Almost never. It is so hilarious that he brought that up. Like in my department, I'm the IT. I'm tech support. Unless it's something serious that I can't figure out, I'm tech support. That's it. I've been designated tech support in my. I'm unpaid for tech support.
Yeah. That's usually how it works. Yeah. Oh, you know computers? That's your job now.
Yeah. Well, especially when it comes to Windows and Adobe and all that shit. But in any event, okay. So when last we left, we were in some serious doo-doo. Are you all right, Morgan? You gonna make it through? You gonna make it through today?
I have no idea. We'll see. But yeah, you know.
Yeah, seriously. We just started. Listen. If it's boring, then do something different. Damn it! It's not my fault.
I can't. I'm on camera.
All right.
Fine.
Fine.
I'll make a Kryptonian.
That is not. No, that's not what he's talking about beating his kryptonite. So,
I wasn't even going there.
Self-abuse is not an option, sir.
Actually, it is. It is an option. He can abuse himself all he wants, just not now. I'm totally okay with not now. All right. So with one player left, what we'll do is we're going to start with you, Seraph.
All right.
While Patch is making arrangements, he's booking a private plane, because for the life of me I can't say private, and he's getting the wife and the children all ready. Everyone's packing their bags, some begrudgingly, some happily. His wife, which I believe her name is Montserrat. Yes. What?
I'll be back in a few. Okay. Gotta take care of something.
All right. Are you logging off?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I hate you, because you can see it, right? You see it immediately. All right, so I have to fix that because it bothers me. I know it doesn't bother most people, but I'm going to put us on hold, fix that, and then come back. And I know as soon as I fix it, he's going to be like, I'm back! Yay!
And Spanky's going to fall asleep unless he says a lot of...
fall asleep, yeah. So
yeah,
let's keep him entertained. All right, we'll be right back.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in asylums. Just saying.
All right, so if that's a weird segue to come back to, a lot of stuff in asylums. We're back. Crimson Sage is not. I hate him so much. Like, if I had a button to detach Mexico and just sink it, because that's where it's residing. Not that I hate Mexicans, I just hate him, and he's living in Mexico right now. So in order to make sure that he no longer walks the earth, I will sink the entire country.
I think you've just gotten all the Trump viewers.
Right, seriously, it's like all of a sudden my viewership, all of a sudden the viewership just keeps rolling up. And just, he's speaking our language. Kill them all. All right. Anyway, I don't know. Every time people talk about Trump supporters, all of a sudden they develop this really shitty Southern accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
The IQ drops by so much.
Oh, that's not cool. Anyway.
All
right. We're not.
Just lost the audience. Yeah.
And there goes the viewership. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're definitely not getting the NPR crowd with what we're talking about. Okay. When he finishes the arrangements, he's going to take them to the airport, to the airport, so that he can load them on the plane and send them off. What if anything are you doing? Are you going with, or are you doing anything on the side for yourself?
What I am doing is I am going to Google headquarters, their main data center.
Okay.
The main data center, the one with all the computing power.
Sure.
And I am going to totally integrate with that system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cause an outage of their internet connection. So a lot of users will be pissed off, but that's not my problem. And it is time to work on this AI problem that has been sitting around, because I don't know what's coming, but I can't carry this all inside my body anymore.
So you want to do a data transfer into their system? Is that what the point of all that was?
Yeah, because we have to untangle the AI and the other entity or AI or whatever it is. And in order to do that, we need space, we need processing power.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just need to push the limits on this.
Okay.
So that's what it's going to be, yeah.
All right.
But first, disengaging all internet connectivity. So Google is about to go down.
Last time on Google Unleashed.
Google Unleashed. All right. When you get the family leaves, you disconnect, you attempt to link yourself in with their mainframes. The first thing that you discover is that Google itself is being guarded by high cybersecurity methods that resemble an active AI. In other words, it's not going to be as easy as you had imagined going into their network, because of their vast resources, the investments, and this is part and parcel to the world that your characters inhabit now. It's not as if everything is as we have it. Like, you have these generic hackers, because of the existence of beings such as yourself, such as others. There exists an infrastructure, especially with the mega corporations. See, because the way I'm looking at it is like, the world that you guys inhabited can tip one way or the other towards the apocalypse, or towards a cyberpunk type of society, because that's kind of where we are right now. But with the introduction of superheroes, with the introduction of creatures from beyond and aliens, which are now public, they're now out in the public because of all these attacks that have been happening and the inability of governments to keep that information from the public because of so many vehicles for transferring that information. And the what is it? The media, not just social media, but the mainstream media itself, they're all coalescing around the idea that with the dawn of the Superman, so the suspension of disbelief is at its lowest point. So with that, the tech sector itself was already underway in beginning to prop up their own assets to to defend themselves from such threats. And with Google being a multi-billion-dollar organization, the thread of the logical thread that I'm trying to weave right now is that for you to do what you're doing, you're going to have to come up with some ways to be able to bypass what exists on a larger scale. Because as we all know, Google is not just a search engine. It's essentially
it's a number of services.
It's essentially a culture all in its own.
All right, so
when you encounter that, it's not that it's immediately deterring you, but you understand that the undertaking for something like that is going to require your own. It's going to require either pushing yourself to the max, or taking you to different avenues in order to reach that goal. So maybe utilizing other elements, utilizing contacts and people that you know, even utilizing Patch's his abilities.
Right. Okay. Secondary question then. We were supposed to get parts to assemble something.
Yes, and that was something that you guys were working on. And it's not complete because of all these distractions.
Okay.
And by distractions, I mean places blowing up and people dying.
Right. So while Patch is dealing with getting the family together, which there's really not much I can do in that regard, then that would be my focus instead. Would be finishing that project up, since we have that already there in-house, and all I have to do is finish putting the stuff together so I can just connect to it and continue the job.
Okay, so Patch is playing by proxy because he's not here, but he is typing. He is on Twitch, and he's asking if there's any way he can support you by bypassing the firewall. The answer to that is yes, but it's not gonna. Again, it's gonna be an undertaking, because you guys have never attempted something like this before, and that's that's not in your current wheelhouse. We'll relegate it to that. It's not that you can't do it, but it's not in your wheelhouse. You, Seraph, as a being, that's not something that you've done. And the logic is there. The logic is sound in terms of being able to download all that information or crash their servers or all that stuff. All of those things do exist and can happen, but in the context of this world that you guys inhabit, it's a lot more difficult than if you were just in our world, in the real world.
Right. It's the tech curve had to be improved to accommodate the existence of SP super beings, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. That's not a problem. That actually would have prevented me from jumping on that angle anyway, because I would know that already.
Well, it's not that you wouldn't know it. It's just that you I would say because your character's naivete would give you it would have a you would have a simplistic logic base that yes, I can do this because I can do it at home.
Right.
But that network is open to you.
Right.
You know, that network you don't have to bypass any firewalls with with Patch's network. You're fully integrated. So
right. So how did I pull this off at UCLA then?
Okay, so again, we're talking about differing levels. So that is a major university, yes. It does have firewalls, and I accounted for something like that. So a tech giant is going to want to guard its trade secrets or whatever.
Much more than a university.
Way more than a university.
Yeah. Okay. So. All right, then. Instead of going through all that, I would just focus on finishing the building of what we had in house.
Okay.
Making use of that. I don't know if we had finished it or if we were finishing it.
You're in the process of bringing it to completion, because in game time you're talking about only 24 to 48 hours between the time that I said that he received it and the time that you're and now. So we're not talking about a huge gap in time.
Okay.
All right. So you're working on that. Morgan and Orion, you would be together at the GSTF base, and then Id is on his way to the hospital. Id, are you with us? I see the cactuar, but I don't know if you're there.
Yes, I am here.
All right. Oh my God. I know, right? It must be a full moon or something.
No, it's gonna be a blue moon.
Caught him on a good day. All right. So you two guys, from the time Morgan of the creature's genesis to now, it's only been maybe about 40 minutes, and its path of destruction you were able to see from the outer cameras that were still operational, that weren't destroyed. There's you're with Orion right now at the HQ level. You guys, Orion. Matter of fact, you should explain it to him better, because you come back up onto the floor as these things are happening. The alarm is going off. You know, like it's less an intruder alert, but it's definitely a red alert type of alarm, and I don't have a sound for that, and I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Right? Boop boop boop. The only person, everyone's scrambling. The AD is, again, he's not in the office, but Agent Rivers had gotten a bunch of at least a dozen agents to follow her. She tells you guys to stay up here, and there's been a perimeter breach, and there's some sort of xeno creature that's out that's currently stalking the streets and causing it's escaped the lab, and now it's in the parking garage. It's in the parking structure. This is the lead up until Id gets there, and then we'll push forward from there. So you guys can conversate on what's happening, because Brian had gone on comms. You can see you have video cons, and he's to you, Orion, and he's like, "Hey, is that fucking Brit with you?"
Yeah.
You can't talk, but remember, because he's on a video con, so you can't mentally talk with him. So he's like, "Oh yeah." Matter of fact, he even
text chat.
Yeah, there's an IM there.
Yeah.
So he's just like, "All right, get him on."
I'll send a message to Morgan that he's needed.
So.
All right.
Okay.
You go over and you see Brian. He's just like, he's a little more disheveled than normal. He's like, "Okay, so what I got is that this thing is organic. It's because he still had the residue in that Faraday cage. And he's like, it's polymimetic. It absorbs matter in order to increase its own mass. It's like a living acid." He's like, "Where did you get?" He said, "You said you touched that book, and that's what happened."
Yes. It was something that was on the book.
So, and it's not something on you. You're not one. I didn't even think to ask this, but you're not a metahuman, right? You don't have a recessive trait, any mutations, anything that I should know about.
No, if you want to test me, but not that I'm aware of.
So yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I'm setting a tech up to take some blood sample, some hair and blood, in one of your testicles. So anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Like what? No, he's sending a tech up
Take them both, yeah.
to take blood and hair, and to see if there's anything in your genealogy that would lead to something like this happening, because he's never heard anything like that, and you guys are talking about magic books and shit, and I don't understand how some book can generate something like this, and you're saying it's magic, and I don't believe in it, and this is really bugging the shit out of me. We need to come back to it on a molecular level and see if what we can do to get rid of this.
I can also make a suggestion that it could be some alien life form, being that the book was supposedly older than 100,000 years old, something that we don't know about.
Then there's that. So, which is where you come in, Orion. It's like, because you are an actual alien. So, have you ever seen or heard of something like this traveling in your, space boat or turtle?
Okay, how similar would this have been to the magic and demon invasion in my own world?
What I'm going to have you do is make a it wouldn't be a lore check, but to try to remember. We were using that what do you call it?
Under your IQ or some shit.
Yeah,
It'd be
under the recall.
It was a 1D100.
Right.
You would set a difficulty check, and my IQ would be the bonus.
Yes, go ahead and do that. While I switch us over to the main overlay there. Which I can't do because I'm screwed up. Go ahead.
Okay, I rolled a 92. I don't think even with my bonus that would be.
Unfortunately, the events of that invasion were probably there were so many things happening with that, especially with that roll. Nothing really comes to mind. But we're talking about it. We're talking about things that shouldn't be right now. So
yeah. Like I said, like my world had never experienced anything about anything supernatural until the invasion. So.
Right.
I'll send. I'll type. Not to my recollection. However, I'll also type. You say that it's absorbing and using matter.
Yeah, it's using matter as a fuel source. But it's not. He says it seems to be absorbing matter to expand itself, but that's not what's driving it. It says it's looking for organic matter in order to mimic it. So that's why it looks like it at first it looked like Morgan.
So I'm going to make a suggestion for an experiment, because the turtle robot, its fuel source is an antimatter reactor.
He's like, whoa. Wait. All right. So if I even hear the word antimatter bomb or anything like that, I will put you in a cage and you will never see the light of day.
No, not a bomb. I was just thinking maybe if we introduced a small amount of antimatter, all we would need to do would be to make a small container for it and toss it in, right? Because it's dissolving the matter it's absorbing. To see if it would
So do you have the equipment to do something like that? This was last I checked. We weren't necessarily the antimatter brigade. So you have something on your on that giant tortoise of yours that could do something like that?
Not yet, but there might be a way to whip up a prototype. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can make a skill roll to see if I could come up with a quick design, a jury rig design. All you really need is a small magnetic field container.
So,
You talking to me?
oh, my wife just needs.
Okay. I know
Okay,
I
so
have
what if
astrophysics.
anything are you doing, Morgan, while he's doing that? Because you're literally over his shoulder and listening to at least
I'm
one
looking
side
at
of the
everything.
one side of the conversation.
I'm looking at everything that he does in case he makes any errors to correct him.
Okay, that critical fail roll, so I obviously don't come up with an idea now. So I'll actually ask and consult with Morgan.
A 1 in 100 chance, and he rolls 100.
What are you trying to do?
Okay, so I'm gonna send a message to Morgan, basically detailing we need a design to a magnetic container to hold the antimatter. To basically chuck into the thing and test out if it'll depower it in some way.
If you'd like, you can probably use some mercury with an electrical charge with a what is that thing that they split blood with? I forgot the name of it. A centrifuge. Something similar to that. That way it can produce the actual magnetic resonance that you need to capture it.
Someone's been using Google. I like it.
You like
No, I've been doing YouTube, but yeah.
Hey, listen, it's
there's
fine.
a-
I'm very impressed. Go ahead.
Okay, so
So those are the minor things that you might need. I've been touching up on my physics.
Right. Do you have astrophysics? Oh, that face says no.
Yes. There's not many science skills I don't have.
Okay. So then you would need to well, I mean, it's right now you're just theorizing. So
Theorizing, so yeah.
you know, I'm not going to make you roll for theories, but once you start making practical applications, there's going to be there will be that chance, as in the 100
and penalties. Yeah.
as in the 100%. Hilarious. Can you hear the music, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like I'm in an elevator.
That's supposed to be a cyberpunk type thing.
okay, with his
Yeah, if I'm on the operating table getting cybernetics,
With-
yeah.
Right,
with
but you
his
also don't have
suggestion,
headphones.
I do electrical engineer to come up with a basic prototype.
Okay, so the penalty for that is going to be a 30 because
Okay,
of the common components and whether or not you're going to be able to come up with the actual mathematical formula to be able to do it.
All right,
that's
then
fine.
with the penalty, that'll be a failure by 2.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the. All right, so he's almost there. Now you can. So what I'm going to try to do is, if you guys have similar skill sets, and one is assisting the other, you can help by making a roll to succeed, and that would boost his chances in order to make that roll possible. So you can go ahead, and you don't have electrical engineering, Morgan, or do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so make your skill check. The same penalty applies. but with your bonuses, you should make that. Okay. All right. So working together in concert, you're able to come up with a makeshift prototype. It's going to take you maybe about 30 minutes to build because of the precise the methods that you're going to be needing to use and the materials that you're going to be handling. Because it is antimatter. So, all right. So, Id, you finally get to the hospital. You were, you had, last time you did get to the hospital, right? Or you were on your way? Because I've tried to zip through the last recording just to get
Hold on, let me read my note real quick. Yeah, I arrived at the hospital and Morgan was running out with I think he had the book.
Yeah, they came in and we explained to him about the creature.
Right, and then he went back to the headquarters with the book, and you get to the floor where where the girl is, and you can see that they were working on her and prepping her. There's a couple of different doctors that are there. One is a neurologist. The other one's a cardiac. There's even a doctor that's looking at her spine. They're looking at X-rays and everything. From when you get to the nurse's station, the nurse looks up and she's like, "Excuse me, you're not allowed to be up here. Can I help you?" Before you even say your partner just flashes her badge. She's like, "LAPD, we need to get into that room." And the nurse is quick to point out that the room is occupied and the doctors are working on a patient. And she looks at you, and Abby looks at you, and she turns and whispers in your ear, "It's like, can't you like mind zap her or something? We need to get this."
That's not how this works, Abby. I can't exactly just mind zap her like that.
It's like, seriously, what fucking good are you?
I mean, I could guess make her blind or something so we can just walk the eye.
It's like, wait, that's it?
That would cause a bit of a panic.
It's like that's what you can do? You can make people blind?
Oh my god. Oh, water in my nose is bagging.
Fine, I can also paralyze her. We could just walk past her. Would that work better for you?
It's like, oh, yeah, sure. I didn't want to start a fucking panic. I just wanted you like Men in Black or something. Like, you can't do that either. Like, what is this? She's like, neuralize. You don't. Can you do that?
No, I can't do that. At least not yet. Damn,
Fuck.
Give me some
She's
time.
like,
I'm
"You
still
know what?
learning how to use these powers myself.
Like, fuck this. And she just walks past you, and the nurse is like, "Excuse me, ma'am," and barges into the room, and the doctors are talking to her. You're not within earshot unless you follow her.
I follow her.
Okay, so she goes in. You guys, and the doctors are like, "Excuse me, can I help you?" She flashes the badge, LAPD. This is like, and she gives her name. She gives your name. She says, "Is she able to talk?" And doctors are looking at her, and then looking at the patient, who's pretty much wrapped, almost head to toe in a gauze. One of the doctors looks at both of you. He's like, "You're kidding, right?" It's like, and you can actually you pass she's in a different room, but you do pass the room that Morgan had described to you as to how he got thrown through. Excuse me, 1 second. Hello? What's up? Are you in a car? All right. Are you stopping anywhere, or are you? Okay. All right.
No one cares.
All right. Bye. Okay, and I'm back. No, sorry. So the doctor's like, this patient's in critical condition, and we're trying to decide whether or not we can do the surgeries that she's going to need to repair her body, but it's impossible what's happening right now. And they're looking amongst each other like they don't understand what's actually happening. So, and it's just like, and what is the Los Angeles police want with this woman? Do you even know who she is?
All I know is she has some information that we need. I need to speak to her.
It's like, yeah, well, she's in a drug-induced coma, so there's kind of no way that you're going to be able to get that information out of her. So Abby turns to you and she's opens her eyes. She's like,
And I speak into her mind like I'm already on it. I start to try to read the woman's movement.
all right. You're using telepathy, correct?
Yep.
All right. The moment you delve into her mind, without the need for a save, you are immediately you're pulled from your body, your astral form. I swear to God, if this is who I think it is. All right, so we're gonna take another quick break.
Okay.
So I can reintegrate Crimson Sage. We'll be right back again. And we are back. Look who's joined us from beyond the rise from your grave. All right,
Yo,
so when one of the, one
yesterday.
we're gonna take
Still funny as ever.
all right, whatever. We're gonna take a walk back really quickly, as you were at the desk, because Sage wasn't present and I didn't want to play him. When you and Abby were arguing with the nurse, you just so happened to see Crimson Sage being bandaged right about the head and shoulder area. You can tell it's Sage because of the giant albino wolf that is laying by his bedside.
Holy shit! I run over to him.
Okay. Sage, the nurse is checking your vitals. Another was wrapping your arm. You have a mild strain, like for mild cut strain and strains that inevitably you're going to heal from, but you did suffer a significant portion of your SDC damage. So with that, they were administering care while the doctors had stabilized the girl and were now in the process of talking about how to treat her. They moved her to another room, so she's like 3 rooms away from where you are right now.
Okay. That's different because from last we left, I was walking out the building, running into them.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, they were just getting to the hospital as I was meeting up with them.
Oh.
But okay, if you want to roll
No.
it back to
Hold on.
me getting up, that's fine.
We can.
No, we're not gonna do the whole the alternate ending grab. No,
The Scooby-Doo ending. But in any event, you did run into his partner. What they did was they rushed up to the floor, and they were arguing with the nurse to go see the girl, which was now being. They did stabilize her. They were able to get her. I already said it. They stabilized her, and now they're in the process of trying to find a way to treat her, considering the nature of her wounds. And in reality, she should be dead. For just for what her body did, should not be possible to do. And no one seems to be able to answer the question of whether or not she's a metahuman, because no one knows who she is. The second part is you're in that position where Agent Rivers did tell you to come back, but I'm not going to force you to do that. So that's what Id and his partner Abby are going to go up to the floor, because just retconning it, it did get a premonition to come here to this hospital. Now,
okay.
I don't know if it was going to explain that to you, but that is what actually happened. Now that I remember
All right.
it.
So we're upstairs then?
No, you're in the lobby as they pull up and they're coming in.
All right. So hobbling my way out. If I see them,
You do. I'm not gonna make any perception rolls. They literally pull up with lights flashing to the front of the hospital.
So I make my way over towards them, I guess.
Well, his presence.
Clearly see I'm fucked.
His
fucked.
presence here is a little disconcerting, because why is he here? Second part is he had disappeared. He pretty much fell off the radar. You guys couldn't locate him. Patch couldn't. Patch was the only one that spoke to him, but he never really indicated to you that he was in communication with them. So he, for the most part, he just disappeared, and now he just reappears at the site of what wasn't necessarily broadcast. It literally just happened. So that's strange. The partner sees you first because Id was driving. And she's like, holy shit, what the hell happened to you?
Short version, I got beat up by one of the spirits that was possessing a patient in here. Unfortunately, we were not able to subdue that spirit, and I'm now being called back to the base, being that there's some emergency going on over there.
He was like, oh yeah, there's a big one. And you are not gonna like it. But let's rewind. Spirits, and then she looks at you, Id, and she's like, spirits?
Yeah, I saw a spirit on the way here. That woman back there.
So describe the woman and tell describe the woman.
Blood
Johnson?
from her eyes and mouth, hospital gown, looks exactly like that chick they don't know what to do with over there.
Well, we're not up there yet.
No, well, this is just a precursor to getting to the desk, and then we'll pass all that. Now,
Right,
he does let you know via the description, and Abby concurs. She saw it too, and then when she looked away, and then the fucking bitch was gone, and she says it just like that. So I look away for a second, and then the bitch is gone. What is going on here?
Some type of projection, probably. Oh. Okay, so what's this thing going on down at the base?
I'm saying, how the fuck do we know? We were on our way there to try to get some more intel from you guys on what's happening on our end. This is giant fucking conspiracy, and no one seems to know anything. And the chief isn't telling us a damn thing. And then I got Doctor Who over here having these psychic brain farts.
Lord, why I gotta be Doctor Who?
Okay.
Why are you getting brain farts?
So okay.
Like, okay.
Obviously, you guys made it here because of that vision. But what I'm asking you is, what was the trouble that you're talking about that they called me back for? Because obviously, you know something about that.
I don't, unless you're talking about the freaking giant monster that was not too far away.
Yeah, it looked like she looks at him and she's just like, it looked like some sort of like Elmer's glue type thing. It was weird.
Yeah, I couldn't affect it at all.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, that thing was like yelling for you to stop. It was like she's like, no. That's it. I could have I distinctly heard it yell no.
I believe that was all the officers it was eating.
No, they were screaming like bitches. That thing made a noise that it didn't come from a human mouth. So whatever you did,
Okay, so
whatever he did,
what was it doing? What was it doing exactly?
aside from killing people, so he's like, you ever seen that movie? You ever seen that movie, The Blob? The new one, with that kid from Entourage, the one from the 80s. Like it was pulling, it was grabbing people and just absorbing them, like melting them inside of itself and then growing. And they kept shooting it, and then it was just taking all that fire. Even explosives had no effect on it. So we hauled ass out of here because we're not the super cop. Well, he's a super cop, but I'm not a super fucking cop. And you guys are supposed to be the super cops to handle that super shit. So, and he disconnected. Mother son of a bitch. All right, so we'll give him a second to come back.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice. I still watch that cartoon every once in a while. As cheesy as it is. The only time Batman smiled and I believed it.
Batman the Bold?
Because that Robert Pattinson Batman is just
Lou, I know you got flashbacks.
all violence. Yeah, how the hell are you diabetic and you eating that?
My sugar was 100. I can have that.
It's like a slow motion suicide.
Nah, the thing is, the medication I take keeps me under like 150, and if it goes under 70, I'm dead. So I gotta keep a balance.
I don't know. I mean, I like the route. Thus far, I like the idea of an all-violent Batman.
And he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you. All right.
Draw
so,
your attention to the
I mean,
center
killing
ring.
how?
So what was
I
the
mean,
what was the
yeah,
last thing you
obviously
heard? What was the last thing you remember you
Huh?
heard? What was the last thing you heard before you winked out of existence?
The last thing I heard was, oh, besides the kill, and that was it.
Yeah, you need to, whoever's holding the antenna at your little hacienda needs to stand still, okay? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. And he's frozen again. Are you still there?
All right.
Holy shit.
I am still here. Barely, I think.
Okay, so she says she describes it in movie terms. She says, "Do you remember that old 80s movie The Blob?" And he's frozen again. Are you still there?
Who, me?
No,
Sure.
Sage.
Okay.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, it's just like it was like anytime somebody got too close to it,
Yes,
it would just
I am
snatch
still
them
here.
up. She said anytime someone got too close to it, it would snatch them up and then just dissolve them. Like it was disgusting. It was horrible. And we hauled ass out of there because we're not the super cops. You guys are the super cops. You should be handling all that bullshit. And then we ran into this bleeding bitch that's in the middle of the road who ends up disappearing and is now in a hospital.
Okay.
So anything you could tell us about this chick would be helpful.
Give me a sec. All right, so I'm gonna make a skill check
4?
on Demon Monster Lore.
Mm-hmm.
See if she provided me enough information to gather what type of thing this is.
That's a nope.
That's a no. Yeah, it's gonna be one of them days. Yay.
Dude, I don't know. These die rollers
All right,
have
so
been
I
pissing
have absolutely
everybody
no
off.
idea. What
So yeah, you're not. It's not. You're not putting 2 and 2 together on that one. So you would
And
get
it was-
another skill check, but you would have to see it now in order to make that skill check. Because based on that description, you're not. It's not coming up.
Huh?
No.
I'm waiting. I'm gonna get that button to sync your country. I'm just saying. Can you hear me? Are you there? Is the music too loud?
On the
Is
go.
that what it is?
I'm guessing he's lagging like hell.
It's probably all them damn hurricanes out there.
Okay.
Yeah. much. Okay,
So-
so
That's this is, what I said was in order for you to make another skill roll to determine what it could potentially be, you have to see it now because the description was not enough for you to be able to put 2 and 2 together as to its origins or what it is in fact. All right, he's frozen again. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna come back. I'll come back to Morgan and Ryan, then go back
So,
to.
I mean, I don't know if I can put the two together. I don't make the skill roll.
This is like the third time I'm saying this. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And he disconnected.
Good. No.
Good.
And they all turned gay.
Oh my god.
No, he turned gay. So this is gonna be a real long game.
Well,
Devil Artemis, my favorite. All right, so I'm gonna go back to Morgan and Orion. In the time frame that you were allotted, you come up with that working prototype. There's not a lot of time to testing it is going to be the trick. You can take it back to your ship, to your turtle mobile. Here's a giant turtle, by the way, and a giant turtle vehicle, because why not?
it's an amphibious rescue vehicle. It's awesome.
Shaped like a turtle.
One of these days, I'm gonna get to drive it.
Turtle.
When he's asleep, I'm gonna go spray paint it green, and I'm gonna put TMNT on the side.
Just put a red mask around the front. Raphael was here.
He might even get the reference. That's the funny shit.
Bitch, I'm gonna make that orange. It's fucking Michelangelo.
Yeah, I know. But it's Raphael that said it. Because they always fight.
Always.
Raphael fights with everybody.
Okay. Now, get to your ship to run the test. I'm gonna have you guys make a skill roll each, but Orion's is going to be the primary driver. You get to your core, you open it, it's in a safety container, you can see it. Morgan, you've never actually seen an antimatter drive, so that's just like,
That's something
Mark
I thought about.
and remember. No.
Walk up to it
Yeah,
look all around it.
and
Like, can I
get
touch it?
Nanu.
and get cancer from all the radiation.
Oh, that's the beauty of antimatter. It's not. It wouldn't have the radiation like.
No,
Nuclear
this
would.
is super. This is different. And
It's new cancer.
this is this is antimatter cancer.
Antimatter matter cancer.
Yes.
Who can it be? Brain cancer.
Okay, so make your skill check for electrical engineering. All right. You're able to split off enough of the material that this container is going to be able to hold, and do that. Close up the drive, and get ready to go. The reports from the agents, the thing is slow moving, but its mass. It's currently about 3.5 meters tall. Which is about 15 feet tall. Which means that it's easy to spot. Once you come out of the parking garage, you can see it down the street. You can hear the agents are trying to fire stun. They're using stun pistols, and it's having a small effect because of the electrical discharge, but it's still moving and gathering up materials. All right. Are you waiting for me for something? What are you doing?
With the antimatter thing, I'm going to get one of the agents to be the one to throw this, and I'm gonna essentially try and slow it down a little more with become a distraction. Basically, try and flank it, and then be a distraction from the other from the opposite side.
Okay. Doing that, it takes no notice of anything that you're doing. There are at least a half dozen agents in front. They're backing, you know, like they're trying to stand their ground, but they're having to back up as it plods forward, leaving huge chunks of the asphalt missing as it pulls up and it absorbs that matter into itself.
Okay. So I will shoot it with my stun pistol.
Okay. And again, it has the vague form of Morgan. Just looks like a bigger, beefier, like Morgan on steroids.
Okay.
Like the Barry Bonds steroids, like the giant head steroids. But anyway, you hand it to one of the agents, and he makes a. I'm gonna just. You know what? I'm not gonna roll because I the way things are going is gonna be a 1. It's gonna explode, and you guys are all gonna be in an antimatter explosion.
I'm too intelligent for that.
It's like I'm too smart for this.
It doesn't work on me.
Not dumb like everybody says. I'm smart, and I want respect.
So he's gonna become Rodney Dangerfield?
No, that's Fredo.
Oh wow, yeah, Fredo.
Okay. He throws it, and it has the effect. It has a partial effect that you're looking for, as the metal is pulled into itself. Now the thing isn't translucent, but you can see the dark spot because it has a yellowy texture, a yellow glue-like texture. And you can see the dark spot from where the box enters its body, and eventually as the outer shell is dissolved, the reaction that you're looking for, you can see a bright flash, and it doesn't expand it, but it just pulls all of the materials in that. It shrinks it, so you can hear the thing. It's like a giant sucking sound as it pulls it in, and a flash of light, bright enough that everyone has to cover their eyes. And when the flash of light is over, you can see the thing. It looks like an amber. It has an amber type of texture now, and it's in a statue form. It's like in a weird position with this menacing face, and it seems to have crystallized.
I see it worked.
All right.
Now, have we thought about doing something beyond this?
Brother, we need your bloody birds. All the agents are closing in.
Uh-oh.
Tell them to hold the shooting.
Yeah, they're not shooting anymore because you guys did what you did. But they're forming a perimeter and coming in from. Essentially, if you were looking from top down, everyone's coming in like a giant circle to assess what's going on. So the agent that threw it, he's just like, "Are we clear?" And he's looking at you, Orion.
I'm gonna send a message to him to have everybody hold back and wait for the science team to come in and try and contain it.
I'm gonna turn to Orion and ask, "What do you think about liquid nitrogen? Encase that in liquid nitrogen, so that way there's no way of it breaking free. And if it does break, it'll just break and then stay frozen."
That's a possibility.
Liquid nitrogen is so cold it actually would freeze. There is no actual thought or electrical charge able to move with it because of the frozen state.
Yeah, but if it is magical in nature, that might not work on that level.
We don't. I thought you don't believe in magic. Isn't it radiation?
I didn't say I didn't believe in magic. I just said I have doubts that it is magic.
Hmm.
But mainly the idea is that I want to have as many readings as we can get off this thing. Gather as much information as we can. Make sure it's neutralized as it is.
Well, my next suggestion would be look for nitrogen to freeze it. And that way, if they need to run it in test, they could just chip a piece off and handle it with care.
Okay. So I'm not hearing actual actions here. What are we doing?
I asked the officer to keep everybody back and wait for a science collection team. I'm sure we have one.
Okay. So he goes off on comms. He's there. All right, everybody, form a perimeter, cordon off the block, and keep everybody back. And the agents immediately do their due diligence and go off and start making that happen. As far as the science team, there is a science team right now, but you guys need to talk with them, or make the order happen. It's really up to you. I don't assume too much.
I'm not an agent.
I'll send the order via text.
All right. The Brian sends the you. Did you get it? Is everything good?
It appears to be contained for now, but I want to make sure that this thing is DOA, if at all possible, before we take it anywhere.
So just the text has responded. Copy that. ETA 10 minutes.
Acknowledged.
Okay. So Sarif, you finish the the storage unit. You are able to do that, and excuse me, Patch had finally got his family, and they had already taken off, so he's on his way back.
Mm-hmm. All right. Once I'm finished, I run some tests just to make sure it's stable.
Okay.
Everything is connected the way it should.
Mm-hmm.
Will work the way it should.
Yep.
It's basically just checking the infrastructure of it. And once I'm sure of that, I literally just integrate with it and begin the work of exporting, begin the work of separating out the two entities from myself, basically.
All right. That does not take, it's not as lengthy a time, but the initial data download that you had received, that will take a significant amount of time in order to take that off, to offload that. The separate security type AI that you think is also integrated within the first data dump, that is proving to be a little bit more tricky. The core program, remember, it was replicating, and you were able to figure out a way in order to have it self-replicate so that it wasn't necessarily affecting you.
Right.
But as you're moving it, it's attaching itself, and it seems to be copying itself onto the outgoing flow of information. With the original program, it's still residing on your core functions, your core network.
Interesting. So that foreign program that was keeping that in place is now moving over, is copying itself along with the data I'm offloading.
Correct.
Okay, halt the transfer, focus more on separating the two. That particular, yeah, because that's not going to work. That defeats the purpose. Focus more on disengaging the security protocol AI or whatever it is from this other aspect, so that that can be offloaded to the standalone hardware.
Okay. All right. Now.
Yeah, I got to scroll through the notes to find that particular.
All right.
So basically it's separating the artificial synapse from the security AI.
Correct. That's
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where it seems it seems to be adapting to what you're trying to do and replicating itself into the download, but the original program is still residing on your core network. So that's going to be the issue that you're dealing with now. Now the program, it had stopped trying to replicate itself out into your network, and now it's just pouring itself into the data that's being offloaded. Those servers that you guys have created as that data center is rapidly filling up, but the data itself is not as dense as you initially thought, and the memory files are being filled with replicated patterns. And the more you dig in, the more you're observing this happening, you're coming to a conclusion that the replicated patterns are synapses similar to a human brain.
Mm-hmm. I remember that from before because Mom identified it. Yeah.
Right, and as those things are happening, the synapses are starting to pull themselves together, and that's part and parcel to why to what's happening with the second agent, or the second program that's replicating itself into the data offload. That is trying to pull that data and scramble it, and not allowing it to reform.
So my goal is to keep that particular counter protocol from doing its job while offloading the synapse code. Yeah. So that'll be my focus. So is there anything I need to know?
No, there's nothing you need to know. Well, at least not now. Now, what happens is, as you're attempting to counteract the counter program and prevent it from doing what it's trying to do, what it's been doing. Again, your consciousness, your artificial consciousness is pulled into a scenario. And it's unlike the one that you've already experienced. This one is in a grid-like environment. So the ceiling is a grid, a white and blue grid. The blue lines, white grid, white squares, and below you is white lines and a blue grid.
Mm-hmm.
approximately 10 squares away. And each square, by the way, is approximately 10 by 10. So 10 squares away, there's a figure that's facing you. And that figure is it's you, but it's colored in the style of the blue for the floor.
Okay.
And when you look, and you just take a quick measure of yourself, and you're white as the ceiling.
Interesting.
You are attempting to sabotage. You will be destroyed.
I turn my head sideways.
He emulates the move.
And
you feel
start...
you feel the environment starting to charge, and the squares from ceiling to floor are starting to fill in, and the floor is rising, the ceiling is coming down to meet them. In other words, it's closing off the space.
Okay. I default maneuver, go into swarm form. Does that actually happen?
You do that, and it emulates you again.
Okay. I go to meet it head on, then.
Okay.
In swarm form, yeah.
All right. What we're going to do is we're going to roll an initiative. And we're going to do that really quickly just to determine the order. Just a basic D20.
Using bonuses or not?
No bonuses.
Okay.
Okay. Your duplicate, your doppelganger, your yang to you being the yin. It comes towards you, and it immediately starts swarming around. It doesn't necessarily attack you directly, but it does swarm around you, and forms a sphere around your mass.
Solid sphere or just a sphere?
A solid sphere. You will not interfere with my prime directive.
Sounds like the board.
I form my entire swarm into a single straight line to pierce through it. Just a single straight line.
All right, roll 20. Nice. Nice. All right, so you do that, and you pierce through both ends. And now what?
I emulate the same maneuver around it and close it on it. A sphere around it.
All
around
right.
its sphere and close in.
So it goes back into a swarm form, and it undulates briefly, and then it expands in all directions in the same way that you did the one. It's expanding in all directions, sort of like a spike ball that's expanding outwards to penetrate you. Okay. By the way, damage is going to be whatever your hand-to-hand, whatever your base damage would be. Go ahead and roll that.
Okay, give me a second. Base damage. Scroll
in this form, your your SDC is going to be converted down. We're going to divide it by 5, and that will be your hit points in this artificial environment.
Okay. Did I regenerate my SDC? Did I have to be manually repaired? How
Didn't we already talk about that? You did need matter in order to integrate it, or did you have a self healing?
I would have needed matter. I don't know if I had. No, didn't really have enough time, to tell the truth. Things have been kind of nonstop.
Yeah.
So okay, so 4. Like 5, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And
So what does that come
I'm
out
rolling. So that's going to be 175.
to? Okay.
And my full strength punch is 1d6 times 10.
Make that roll.
All right, this doesn't do the multiplier, so I'll just roll the d6. 50.
Okay.
You can do
By the way, there's
multiplying.
no critical dice. It's just straight damage.
Okay.
All right.
Am
You
I?
can- in order to do the multiplying, you use the asterisk instead of an X.
Oh, I'm not typing in. I'm just using the interface itself. That's all.
Take 40 points as it expands outward and pierces the shell in all directions.
Okay.
And you felt that, and what you're in this place, in this space, the type of damage is not translated into just data. This is a translation into actual. It's almost as if you're functioning as a living being in this artificial environment.
So I'm
the way
feeling pain.
I view your character is that you don't feel pain in the material because you're a robot, but in the virtual you do feel it.
Right.
So that's
It registers as data damage or
Right.
something like that.
yeah. But the damage translates into an actual feeling.
Right.
So that's a shock to your system.
Okay.
I'll say that you involuntarily scream at the pain itself, and the thing it expands outwards and it retreats back towards its original position, and you can see where it's at. There is it looks like a wooden desk with an old. You remember those the original IMAX with the blue,
Yeah.
with the little bubble ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you can see one on that desk, and there's information that's scrolling across it, and every once in a while you see flashes of pictures and images of people that you don't know, that you've never seen before, and pictures like this is all in that instance as it's
Right.
pulling itself back towards this thing, and it's assembling itself in a way that you can tell that it's going in to destroy this thing. So the swarm form is going to come in and destroy it.
And so I am going to head towards it, and it's going in that swarm form, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will meet it in swarm form, and it's like literally the individual bits clashing against each other.
Like a bit war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So well, again, we'll result to the the generic 20s. This way we don't. I'm not going to come up with any. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. It's easy. It's fast. When you understand what you're trying to do, and I understand what you're trying to do.
No problem.
All right, roll damage because it's going to be above a 4. There is no armor here. You don't have any armor. Okay, another
60.
60. Oh. It doesn't react to defend itself, but it does swarm back to attack you. Anything above a 4, it's going to hit. Okay. And I'll roll damage. You take another 30.
Mm-hmm.
So you're down to 105 to its 65. Because again, it's emulating you. And hopefully it will come back so we can get this thing fixed again. But in any event, go ahead and we'll keep rolling because this thing won't stop trying to attempt to dismantle this desk with this computer on top of it.
Right. It's still in this swarm form, or is it falling back into a solid form?
No, it's still in swarm form.
Is it a concentrated swarm, or is it spread out?
It's spread out. Well, it's spread out in the sense that it's not enveloping the room, but it's concentrating itself towards that desk. So it's it basically 2 dust clouds of nanites trying to fight each other.
So what I will do is around that desk and the individual at the desk, I will become a whirlwind.
Okay.
It's like Hero 6.
And it has to come in, and if it comes close, I'm going to attack it. I'm going to reach out and literally attack it.
So that's exactly what it's doing. It doesn't emulate your action. It's trying to concentrate itself so as to pierce your whirlwind.
Right. And I will in turn attack it. It definitely hit well.
Definitely hit.
For sure.
Yes. That's a good thing. There's no criticals yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would have done a critical too. So, all right. So 40 points. That leaves you down to 65, and you just made that roll. So go ahead and roll. Oh no, you rolled.
I rolled 40. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So. At this point, it pulls back and it floats away. You can see that a lot of itself, a lot of you has been damaged enough, so it pulls itself back into its solid mass, and it's laying on the ground and it's looking up to you. You see, it's like starting to de-res, and it looks up, and you have done well, brother. Father will be pleased. And then it completely de-reses.
At which point I stop being a whirlwind and form in solid as I can be at this point.
Okay.
In front of the desk.
Okay.
On the back end of the computer.
All right. So once you reform, the desk is gone, and what's in front of you is now, it looks like a human child. Olive complexion, maybe about 9 months old, just sitting there naked, crying. In its eyes, you can still see all those images. Its voice is heavily modulated, so that it's obviously not a human child, but that's the form that it's taken.
Okay. And trying to emulate mom and dad, I say, you are safe now. I have stopped our common enemy.
All right. With that, even as modulated as you are, it does seem to stop into the whimpering where it's just like and it's just staring at you. once there's a point where the environment opens up again, okay, and each one of the squares represented a memory cell. That's how you realize what this is. And now you can see that the memory is almost at capacity, and the child starts to grow. You know, it starts to age. And becomes a young boy, a toddler, and then a preteen, and then a teen, and then an adult, but still extraordinarily young. And he's olive skin, in complexion. He's just like heavily breathing. He's looking around. He's like, where am I?
You are currently inside a computer construct. It was the only way to get you to work to reintegrate yourself.
Am I dead?
You are not dead. You are a consciousness living inside a computer environment.
He's looking at his hands, and he's just like, how long have I been gone?
What is the last that you remember?
Yeah. It's fuzzy. It's like pieces of my mind or my memory are gone. I remember fire. I was on fire. I remember as he's trying to remember, you can see these the digitized images in that memory cell are starting to form tactile objects, and one of them is like it starts to form something small at first, and then it's more of the cells are coalescing and it's building and building, and to what looks like a standing bipedal turtle. He's like, I remember a turtle? What?
Turtle.
Yeah. A talking turtle? No, that's not right. That can't be right. It's like, how is this? Why can't I remember?
You have obviously been through a great deal of trauma. I would suggest you take the time to further gather your memories.
It's like, my parents. I remember my parents. And with that, that memory cell, it dissipates and another one forms. This one has a lot more tactile feel to it. You can see it's filling itself in with colors and textures, and it seems like a middle-aged couple. You've been in California enough to know that you've been around these you've been in California long enough to know that they're not Caucasian. They may be Hispanic, possibly Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking, I remember my uncle. And with that, you can see another figure coalesce, and he's not necessarily one of them. He could be Asian. I think we maybe lost somebody.
Adolfo. No, he's right
there. We lost Gabe. I don't know if he said he was leaving, but
he might have dropped. He said he had to reboot. Somebody said they had to reboot their computer.
I did.
All right. Let me take a look for a second, real quick.
He dropped out of roll 20 too.
All right, we'll continue. Oh, he said he was going to take off. All right, so we will write him out. Write him out, that big sissy. In any event. So that's kind of what you're seeing right now, and he's trying to figure out what is happening. You can see he's clearly not recovered mentally. There are parts of his memory as you're looking at him, as you're looking at there's parts of his memory that are clearly missing. You can see it in the pattern of his memory files.
And I remember that we did lose some data.
Yes, there were chunks that were gone, and then there's chunks that are in red. Everything where he's standing is blue and white.
Right.
There's sections that are black. There are sections that are red, glowing red. There are sections that are also, like the coloring would indicate different sections of his memory, and that they are attached to either a traumatic experience or an emotional response.
Right. And so I say to him, you have been through much, and you are currently rebuilding yourself from what I guess a human would call death.
So what?
To a state.
So wait a minute, I'm
conscience.
dead? What? So, but
I do not.
where's my body? I was. So wait, it's like I'm not. This isn't real.
You are in a digital world. To me, that is just as real as the physical world. It might be different for you, as you seem to have been once human. But now you are a digital being.
That is totally fucked up. I don't, Who are you?
I am Seraph.
Like it.
I am your father.
Like an angel? So you
No,
don't
not
look like an
quite.
angel.
It is my designation. I am an artificial intelligence with a physical form, and you have been housed in my body, as somehow I received your information and that of another program, a hostile program, that is trying to keep you from becoming whole again.
He's like father. It called itself father.
It said our father will be proud. It meant myself and it. I was created. May I ask, what did you do in your life?
I knew some people, and they've a book. There was a book. I remember a book.
I try to recall the book, the image of the book.
Okay.
Can I make it
you do
visible
that,
here?
and you can make it visible. Yes. He's like,
Was it this?
So with that, he's still on the ground, and he was able to digitize some clothing. He did that subconsciously, and he looks up and he's like, "That's it," and he pushes himself away on all fours. No, get it away from me! Get it away!
It is not. It is, and I'd make it disappear. That was not the real thing.
Oh my God!
It has been a source of problems so far in the life of my adopted family.
I can't. I can't.
Stay calm, sir. Stay calm.
He screams, and that body, that construct explodes into a bunch of digitized bits, and they merge into the memory cells.
Okay. So I wait patiently for a while. I observe all the memory cells that are here
Mm-hmm.
and try to see if I can understand the pattern that should be formed and what might be missing or damaged, and if there was anything I can do to affect
So,
pairs.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with this.
Mhm.
The patterns as you had began conversing with this kid, they began to change, become more complex, more compressed as a human memory. So they're wrapping themselves around experiences, stimuli, and what you initially thought was just a data dump was you're realizing it's in actual consciousness, which is not something that even an AI is capable of forming, because it doesn't conform to pre-programmed notions. So it's evolving in a sense that the patterns are changing, and each cell is now multiplying and compressing.
Okay. All right. So in that case, I'm going to watch because it's doing its own job.
It seems to be healing certain spots, but those missing those fragments, those huge patches, are definitely gone. The red patches. What you're noticing is that they're forming what would, in your view, in your POV, would be antiviral firewall type of organisms. And you're starting to feel a little apprehensive because they're not fully articulated, but they're forming humanoids, and you can see, like, from the feet up, right? So they're coalescing and forming together, and you can make the vestiges out of weapons. And these things
Whoa.
are armored.
Whoa. That's different.
They're all in red with white stripes that go through the threading. You can the bottom pattern. You reference it to the boots of what would be a samurai, and you can see the bottom edge of a katana as it's forming, and it's at its waist. You can see the flaps for the armor on the sides. The toed sandals that they wear.
Right. Okay. So this is what's forming in whole, or is this parts of it?
Parts of it. It's
Parts
no,
of it.
it's forming as a whole organism, and you're getting a sense that you are now an invading organism, and you can see that the thing, it's turning in your direction.
Okay. Then it is time for me to separate out from the construct that we created. And once I separate, though, it is inert, isn't it? It doesn't have any power of its own. It was relying on me entirely.
Well, once you separate from it, all that data is residing now on that mainframe that you guys have created.
Right. So that's what I will do.
Okay. So you pull yourself out, and all of those new experiences you're trying to reconcile with. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to go back to Sage. Morgan, they were able to come up with a method to transport it before they analyzed it for any leaks, if it's still ambulatory, and it is one solid hunk of material. They cannot. What's the word I'm looking for? the material itself doesn't correspond to anything on the periodic table. So whatever it was transmuted into does not exist on the current periodic table. So they're it's not radioactive, although there are trace elements of radiation. That same radiation that you guys had initially encountered and were trying to track, there's trace amounts of it, but for the most part, it's completely inert, and they were able to gingerly get it onto the flatbed of a truck in order to bring it back inside for further analysis. The doctor, Brian, does invite you to assist.
Okay.
Seeing as how you came up with the idea in the first place.
And like I said, I'm also suggest that they see about trying to keep this thing, so in case anything happens, if it does revert back, make sure it stays in liquid nitrogen, because liquid nitrogen could even freeze light. So if liquid nitrogen can freeze light, it should keep this thing on the wraps.
So, well, we don't know what it's. We'll hold off on that because we don't know what this thing is made of, and how it's going to react to anything at this point. So let's just take it a little. We have a containment field that we were able to borrow from an NSA project. So we're going to try to do that. We're going to use that, and we need to figure out what the hell this thing is, where it came from, how it came from you, and off of a fucking book. I still can't wrap my head around that. Like it took your hands. None of that should happen. None of that should be able to happen.
Also, I would like to have a full analysis of myself, so in case of anything.
He says, yeah, no, absolutely. We're containing you too. As a matter of fact, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just kidding.
Say containing, not murdering.
Contain, murder,
It's about the same thing.
This is the government. We do what we want. All right.
No.
Now, what exactly is the last thing that you're going to be doing? Because I'm going to probably come back to you first next time.
I'm going to work with them to see about what can we do to break this thing down and try to actually identify the materials.
Okay.
And of course, I'll be naming them since I'll be the one hopefully creating.
Nice.
So
very nice. Always about the credit.
Names.
Always about the credit. Okay. So we'll do that. Sage and Id talking. Hopefully Id is still conscious, and Sage still has a signal. You're still talking, still trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and she had explained to you what they saw and what it was that what they were chasing. It was like some sort of glue type monster. It looked like wood glue, and like a giant thing made of just like it looked like vanilla pudding. I don't understand what the hell it was, but it was killing everyone. I saw it grab one of those GSTF guys and dissolve him. It just pull him into it.
It was the return of Bill Cosby.
And the pudding.
Put the officer in the pudding.
And I gotta go get the pudding.
Everybody's about the pudding. All right, so I'm on you, Sage. Are you talking or are you listening?
I was just listening. So I tell her, as much as I wish to help, I have no idea what that is.
So, well, we're trying to. It's just like, tell him, man. You're the psychic dude. We saw that bloody kid, that bloody chick, and he told us to come to this hospital. So, and you're saying that she's upstairs, and she's the one that did all that to you?
No, the spirit that was inside her, and I described the entity.
Again with the spirits.
What I remember.
He's a little boy.
Again with. So I mean, so she's like, seriously, like, don't you guys like have like an exorcist on standby or something?
Well, that was what I was attempting to do. Unfortunately, I failed. It didn't stay much longer. Left it the
Wait,
body, but
So
she is
you're the exorcist?
sort of.
We failed.
So again, what is he? Pointing to
Who?
Shiori, he's like, is the dog an exorcist too?
Assistant.
He has his purpose.
On those lonely nights.
Anyway,
Oh my god.
seriously, Sam?
Peanut butter.
Delirium. All right. So what do you say? Okay. So then you were just gonna leave her? So she's all done? Is she
No.
dead?
We were ordered. No, she's stabilized at the moment, but we were ordered to go back to base because of the entity that you guys described, I guess.
Okay. And with that, you get a flash message on your phone that there's an all clear, that the entity has the Muto, whatever that is, the ET has been neutralized and contained.
Okay, so
They managed to do that.
I'll send them a text back letting them know that I guess I'll be assisting Ed and his partner with what's going on upstairs.
All right. Within 30 seconds of you sending that text, you get a call.
So I pick it up, I answer it.
Agent Sage, this is Assistant Director Schultz. What is your 20 in relation to the LAPD?
To the LAPD, right in front of them.
So you're going to need to get a safe distance away, and so that we can have a conversation.
Okay. So I tell them, excuse me for a second. Move off to a side in order to talk to them.
Okay. So are you clear?
Yes.
What are you wearing?
Man, come on, man. I wasn't even fucking with you.
All right.
The fuck?
All right. Take it easy. Now, he says,
Fucking mute him, please.
I'll mute myself. Fucking.
Fuck.
all right. Now, he says, information has gone up the chain, and we believe that the one that the one with the call sign of id has been compromised.
Really?
Affirmative. You are to handle yourself with care and not share any information regarding your mission.
Well, that's kind of unfortunate right now because he is on his way to see the patient. And without blowing our cover, I can't stop him.
You need to escort the target. Well, I want you to shadow him. Make sure that he doesn't compromise the patient in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
More information will be forthcoming. Schultz out, and he hangs up the phone.
Copy. All right. So go back to them. I'm like, well, now that you're here, and now that it's an all clear, I guess I'll go upstairs with you. Somehow, some way, this girl's important, so might as well she's safe.
The more the merrier.
Huh?
I said the more the merrier.
Yeah, Abby's just like, yeah, sure. You mean this freak show
yeah.
doesn't have enough. This clown car doesn't have enough clowns. Let's go.
So I just shake my head. I'm like, so I guess we're going up now?
We're going up.
All right.
Let's go.
Now you get to the
So,
you get to the back to the station, to the nurse's station at the critical care unit, and she's arguing that the doctor's already in there. She knows you've been in there, and she says you should probably have that looked at. and calls over one of her nurses, and it's just you need to treat him.
So I tell her, sure, no problem. Just one request, that it be next to whatever space that she's in, just in case.
So she's like, she looks a little confused by that. She's like, yeah, sure. We can go to the next room.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind getting taken a look at, but it's just that my priority right now and my orders are this young girl. I don't know why, but that's what it is. Lady or whatever it is.
So she said, okay, yeah, follow me, please, and leads you to the room, and she's attending to your more superficial stuff. You don't have any any broken bones or internal injuries, but you look beat to hell. Swollen face, swollen everything. And Id, you're still at the nurse's station. This is where we will double back to the nurse's station, and Abby's just like, "Can you zap this bitch so we can get in there?" And the doctors come out, no, she just pushes past and goes in there, starts talking with the doctors, and you're still at the nurse's station. You walked in, you attempted to meld with her, or to not meld with her. You attempted to do telepathy, and you were pulled out into your astral form yet again. What you encounter with when you do that, you can see her in her astral form just floating above her body. And her light is severely diminished. And it's flickering. It's flickering into what you know to be what you feel like into a true death. Because as the saying goes, if your astral body dies, you die. So she looks terribly tired. She looks exhausted, and she's just she opens her eyes and looks at you, and she's like, finally. Do you remember me?
I remember you coming towards me. I guess your astral form. What happened?
I did something terrible.
Who did something terrible?
I did. It's like I tried to destroy it, and it fought back. It's like I've seen plenty. As she said, I've seen so many grimoires of that that are similar to this, but this one harbored such great evil. It nearly tore me apart. It's just like I feel like I'm fading.
Wait, so you know what this book is? Why does everybody want it?
It's ancient. I don't. It's not that I don't. It's not that I know what it is. I know what it's capable of. It's ancient. It doesn't belong in this world.
Shit.
You need to find a way to destroy it. All of you do. It's looking for an anchor. And I fear it's already found one.
Anchor to what, this plane?
Yes. It's just like it's alive. It's living, but it isn't. It has no soul, and it needs a soul to anchor it in order for its true power to manifest. I know this much. And it will find whatever it can.
Well, do you know about the people who want this damn book? I don't want to hand it over to them, but
so she says yes, because she's like they're I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm interrupting.
No, I finished. I'm good.
Okay. She's like, it's the men who want this, the people who want this. They think that it's a doorway, it is a gateway for power, immortality.
As they
And-
want to do.
And it is to an extent. But the kind of immortality and power that it gifts, gifts people is twisted and warped. They become slaves to its true master. A thing whose name I cannot pronounce.
One of those. I guess it's some kind of old entity, like from one of those Lovecraft books.
So with that, she gives you it seems to ease her tension because of the humor in your joke. Well, the joke that she interpreted to be.
It was.
Like, oddly enough, yes, something exactly like that.
Oh, for the love of God. What is up with these comic book villains wanting power?
It's like, no, you don't understand. It's not. It's nothing like that. It's just pure chaos. The evil that drives it is the evil that we imbue into it. The thing that it serves is pure chaos. It unmakes everything and remakes it and makes and unmakes it again. It's like it can't be reasoned with. It can't be bartered with. It's beyond our understanding.
That's incredible. This thing sounds like it should run for president of the U.S.
That would be funny if it weren't true. So it's you have to find whoever its human agents are, those that are trying to acquire it, those that are sending out their agents to stall you or kill you. They're everywhere, but nowhere at the same time. It's like I long suspected that they were not of this earth. Maybe a parallel dimension. I don't know. I didn't get that far. I tried the wrong ritual to get rid of this thing, and it did this to me. And now I fear that the assassins are going to return.
Is there anything I can do to help you?
There was a man, but he is dead now. And he does have, he has a shop, I think here in town. Maybe they didn't know about him. Maybe they killed him to protect their mission. They're very single-minded. They're very cunning, very smart, with no remorse, no regard. And they're always seeking more and more power to live. They feed off of our misery and suffering. And we feed them well. But they are always bound by a contract. They cannot operate in this world without one.
So I just find and destroy this contract? Is it a physical thing or is it like a bond?
I don't know. I've only encountered the one, and the one did this to me. And she looks down at her body. That when the one did this to me. It's like, I have to heal. You have to protect me. You have to take me out of here. I can heal on my own. Don't let those doctors cut into me. It's just, I don't trust them. and she tries to lift her head. Even her astral form looks extraordinarily fragile, and she looks opens her eyes. Her eyes are mostly shut from swelling. It's as if her body, her astral form, has taken on the wounds and the beatings of her body, and she looks past you. You turn your eyes towards, you're following her eyes, and you can see dark where the doctors are. And everyone in the astral plane, when you see them, they generate their own light. But primarily it's white. It's white light with a blue effervescent aura. Please mute yourself. And all right. So it's a white effervescent aura with with traces of blue and yellow light to indicate that they're living. These, of the three, the one in the center, his light is gray, and he's turning, like you can hear them talking, but again, in the astral plane, when you're not focused and you're not an astral traveler, right? You don't have astral projection.
I do.
You do. Okay. So then never mind. I take that back. And you know that when you go into the astral plane, everyone has their astral form, but they're connected to their bodies, and very few can reach the astral plane. Most do it by accident, unless they're trained like you, like a true psychic. And this thing, it seems to be similar to that first encounter when you were sitting in a squad car. If I can draw your memory back to when you were hiding it from Abby, and the dark day first appeared. It's just like he as he's turning and talking with his contemporaries, you can hear them. It has like an echoey quality to it, and he's turning, and it looks like he's looking at you for almost a split second. Like there's a recognition in his eyes, and then he turns back towards the girl as he's talking with his guys and talking about, we need to prep her for surgery now. I need to repair the damage. You determine that he's the neurologist, the neurosurgeon, because he's talking about, he's pointing to the panel, and he's like, I need to stop the bleeding. I need to get into here, and she has a hematoma that's pushing blood against her brain, and she could potentially die. But that split, that moment where there was a recognition in his eyes that you were there, and then his vision turned to her, and then looks down on her body. Unless someone was paying attention, like someone like Spanky's character or Adolfo's character who has that spatial awareness, no one would have noticed it. Now I'm gonna get back to you, Adolfo, in a second, but you, that's what she says. I can't hold out much longer. And the more they pump me with whatever they're putting into my body, the more closer to the true death I come.
Understand. I'll keep them from you.
Say, please hurry. I don't have the strength. And she melds back into her body. And you suddenly rush back into yours. It only happened in real time, in a moment. And Abby's like, hey, you all right?
I look at Abby and it's like, we got to get that girl out of this hospital now.
Like, wait, what are you talking about? She's all fucked up. Look at her.
Look, she'll live if we can get her out of here. If she stays here, she'll die. I would explain more, but we don't have time.
Yeah. She's like, yeah. I get it. Says, all right, what about Dog Boy in the next room?
Well, he's obviously coming with us.
So, man, I don't know, man. I got a funny look from him.
I'll give him once over later when I have the chance. Right now, we got to go save this girl.
Okay. So that's where I'm gonna leave it with you and her, and for Sage, little triage that she does doesn't take but a few minutes. When you're able to, you're still ambulatory and everything. You come back into the room with the doctors and Id and his partner Abby. You do notice, you do have that, give you that sense of awareness that you can see the doctor, and where he's looking is a space, but it's just that slight moment of recognition that he's looking at something, and he's looking at two things that exist in a space that aren't there. And then he looks down at the body and he notices you, and again, that small space of recognition, and he turns back to his doctors and he says, well, I need to operate. I need to get in there. And he points, they have this virtual, this 4D image that they took of her. You can see these spots in her brain where the blood is starting to pool. You're muted, by the way, so unmute yourself.
So, I'm over her, right? And I find it peculiar that look that the doctor had.
Mm-hmm.
And although she is gravely hurt, apparently she shouldn't be alive. Something's keeping her alive.
Right. The second thing that I'm going to let you, I'm going to throw at you is you also noticed that Id, for maybe about 3 seconds, seemed to be locked in some sort of a trance. Like his eyes just glazed over, and while his partner was talking to him, she was to his left on your right side, his left, your right. And she was talking, and then she's just like, hey, are you there? Hey. And then he snaps out of it, and then they're talking. I'm going to give you, I'll also, just to integrate these two lines, roll perception. And the only reason I'm giving this to you is because of your spatial awareness ability.
Okay. So am I going to be using this in tandem with the spatial awareness?
Actually, roll spatial awareness. What am I thinking?
Okay. So that's a +2 more to the roll.
All right, so it's 10.
12. Was it a 10?
No, you rolled an 8. You said it was a +2, right?
No, so that is 7, 15.
Okay. You're able to read his lips and to see what they're talking about. You can't really read her reaction because she's facing away from you. So you have her back, but him, you can see what he's saying.
Okay. All right, so I know that they're worried about me. So that puts me on point, along with him being all kind of trans-like now.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. What the fuck is going on?
What happened?
Damn, come on. Or whatever.
I can hear you.
I know you can hear me. It's just that this fucking mouse is going crazy for some fucking reason. It doesn't let me fucking move quite. Never mind.
Okay.
What was that? So with that, I'm looking at the girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with what little experience I have with body possession or demon possession or spiritual possession,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm going to hold her hand, right? And I'm going to, for however I can communicate with her, I'm like, I need to understand what happened to you. How did this happen? I'm here to protect you, but I don't know how. There's something you can do, or something you can say, or something you can show me. I would highly suggest you do. You know, I'm of course saying this very low, just so she could hear it. And it's almost as though I'm just concerned about her well-being right now. You know, I'm not giving off any details with regards to being on point as far as the doctor or Ig.
Okay. All right. So this is.
I know you called Ig here.
Okay. I'm trying not to interrupt, so tell me when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay. Her hand gently squeezes yours, and you can tell like the muscles contracting are causing her pain, because you register it in her eyes, and they flick open really quickly and look at you. As they do, you can see this. You need to roll a save. Roll 20.
I'll do so against what?
Just roll.
Okay, so I'll just use the generic one.
Yeah, just roll the generic one. So I already have your character, so. Right.
13. Sorry about that.
You rolled 3, and you rolled a 3, 13, and a 16. The 3 came up first, so we're going to go with that. The
Funny, because the 16 came up first for mine. The 3 was the last one I rolled.
Okay. All right. So with that, you felt yourself like your body tense, and it was almost as if there was a projection coming right at you. Like you can see her pulling your like it's similar in the sense of her astral being just coming at you, but it stops short because
if that's the case. Lou, if that's the case, I'm not resisting.
Okay, so then we'll forget the resist. The only reason I made you roll is because that's just a reaction. It's
I know, but the thing is that with her grabbing my hand and her opening her eyes and then that happening, I'm gonna assume it's her. So even if it was an attack by like the enemy, I'm still assuming it's her.
Right.
And I'm hoping it is.
Okay. Right. He's like, please don't believe. He's like, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. So, she rushes forward and just at the torso level, you can see her astral form is even more frail looking than it's similar to the way I described it to Id, except he's an astral traveler. So seeing these things is not unusual. You've only seen them. You've experienced them through books and reading. Seeing it is just, it's almost horrifying. She comes up and touches your face, and in that you're flooded with images of her in a circular room, and it's you were at her house, right? If memory serves, was your character at her house?
Who, me?
It's Patchy. No, so it wasn't this character, as a matter of fact. So you're in this space. You can see that it's like a sunken-in living room. It's an octagon space on the ground. There's a huge, very, very complex circle. It looks like a protection circle. You're almost feeling like you know all of this stuff firsthand. You're experiencing it through her, and you can see that the book's in the center, and all these different artifacts. There's there are a couple of sacrificed animals that are positioned in key places, and words start coming out from you, but they're not yours. And the thing, it starts to rise and glow red, and it opens to a page towards the center of the book, and this image floods the room. There's it looks like a cavern, like a honeycombed cavern that's round at its center with a hole, with a deep pit hole at the top, and through that you can see some like an intricate map of the Earth. It's two-dimensional, and it has all the continents, and there's key pieces that are spread out with symbols and writing that you can't make out because it's too far away from your point of view, from your field of view. But you see there's some activity, and then there's an explosion. And then all this rock starts coming down this hole. As it comes down this hole and it reaches the center of this sphere, this round space, they just disappear in flashes. And it seems like they're causing some sort of eldritch energy to coalesce and spread around this, what was invisible. And this dark space opens from the center and spreads outwards, causing more of this rock, which at first glance you thought it was just rock, but it has energy and coursing through it as it collapses on itself, and it causes that space to expand even more. And the last thing that you hear as it literally pushes you away, finally, and then you wake up, and now you're still in that room. The book has closed. It's still glowing red, but there are figures. These dark figures. That's about 3 of them directly in the book is in the center, and they're across the room and closing in, and your body lurches forward, grabs the book, and a complex set of hand gestures. And now you're in a field. It's daylight, and behind you can see these things. They're coming through their own dark portals and chasing you, and the whole thing feels like you've been in this. It feels like a virtual movie that you're writing as a passenger, and she's constantly trying to evade these things, going to different places. Every time she calls forth a portal and walks through, you're in another world. She's literally crossing worlds to evade these things, and they're finding her. And then she finally realizes that the book is leading them to her. So what she does is, when she finally comes back to our world, to this world, she puts it in a box, does some incantations on it, and you can see her write Reyes Acosta, and then give it to a UPS guy, and then she turns and runs as those things are that she can see from the window of they're like right across the street, hovering in midair, and they're not making any moves towards her. And she turns and sees them, and you can see her reflection of her true self through her eyes. And she looks gaunt and tired, and almost all of her energies are gone. And she finally calls forth another portal and disappears again. But this time they find her, and she's strapped to a chair. These bindings are all over her body, and they're covered in silver. They're covered in silver runes, and they're tightening around the parts of her body that can flex, her forearms, her biceps, her legs, all of that stuff. And then they start torturing her. And at this point, we catch up to where Seraph shows up. You can clearly you don't know that it's Seraph. I'm explaining it that it's Seraph because he swarmed.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I just see this swarming thing.
This thing comes out of nowhere. It looks like an alien, and it's mechanical, and it comes up and kills the attackers. And then you can see Reyes walk into the room, and they're looking at her and like, "Oh my God, is she okay?" And you're just beat to hell. You can feel everything that she felt. the sensation is overwhelming. I'm not going to make you roll, but you can feel every pain that she had suffered. And then you come out of it.
So I squeeze her hand gently and I tell her, rest, stop using your abilities. You're severely hurt and weakened. Don't sacrifice yourself yet. I'll figure out a way to get you healthy. I promise you that on my life. I let go and I stand at the doorway, just like if I would just be on a duty guard, like like a witness protection kind of deal.
Yep.
And
on the inside or outside of the room?
Right at the doorway.
Yeah, on the inside or outside of the room? Okay. All right, so with that, I'm going to end it, and we will pick this up hopefully next week. If everybody shows up, I am going to be on at 8 to get the setup done, so please don't text me, don't ask me, are we playing 8 o'clock? And if if something else doesn't come up, I will let you know, and we'll pick this back up. The earlier that I can get set up, the sooner we can get to actually getting back into it. So for Id, Crimson Sage, Orion, Morgan, and Seraph, with Patch, who have made a cameo visit to Morgan's home, we bid you a fond farewell from Heroes Unleashed.